Hi, Shana Tiger. Hi, guys. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hi. I hope you're okay in Harare tonight. We're all thinking about you. Hello, Mabel. Wonderful. Thank you for letting me know. Hello, Farai. Thank you for letting us know. Hi. I believe our guest is in the house, which is good news. Hi, Ayobami. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So Ayobami is here and she's on time. Fantastic. Let's also just wait for a few more people to join us, but I'm going to ask her to come on. Hello, beautiful.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, you look stunning. You look lovely.
Thank you, thank you.
How is Lagos tonight?
Um, I don't know. I haven't been outside of my house in a week, but the weather is good. The weather is always
Okay,
good in Lagos.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I'm in Lusaka and we're just ending our winter. So these are the last few cold nights, I'm hoping. Once we go into August, September, it gets very warm. So,
Um,
yeah, we're looking forward to that. Some
so
of
it's
us are
getting
still,
better with it.
yeah, it gets better. I don't, we only gets cold for about 2 to 3 months in the year, of which are just
Um,
torturous. And then, yeah, I love the heat. I don't know how to deal with this cold story. Hi, guys. Okay, so great. I think we've got quite a number of people in now. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us today, Ayobami. I know it's yeah, no, we really appreciate our authors who come onto the platform. This platform was created as a result of the lockdowns in different countries, COVID-19 affecting us. So it really is a community where we get to just share and connect. And we have a wonderful group of followers. So you can say hello to the audience before we start.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, I'm going to introduce Ayobami today. I can't believe I'm speaking to her. I read her book a couple of years ago, and this is like magic. It's like, yay! I didn't know the internet could do this. This is amazing. So thank you, Afrolit and Frontières, season 5. This is another Girls Friday. And as usual, we have queens on the stage. So everyone tell your sister, your brother, your mother, everybody to join us because you don't want to miss this. So Ayobami, we're going to discuss your amazing book today. Stay with me. Those of you who don't
Yeah.
know, it is a Women's Prize for Fiction shortlistee. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. These are levels. And Ayobami is from Nigeria. She has a BA and MA in Lit and English that she got in Nigeria in Ife. And funny, that's the setting for in the book. She's also an MA East Anglia graduate in creative writing. So, and also she's been shortlisted and won numerous prizes, and many of her short stories have been featured in various journals and magazines. And all of you out there, I urge you to go onto her website and you'll be able to find everything you'd like to know about her. All her short stories are there, and you'll find it on www.ayobamiadebayo.com. So, welcome to Afrolit and
Thank
Frontier.
you.
Thank you. So I think we'll jump right in. If you can give us a reading, and those of you who don't know it, here you go. Stay with me. She'll be reading from it tonight, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Special shout out to everyone in the comment section, first of all. Yes, it's a kiss to I put on lipstick. First time I can't remember how long. And special shout out to Jola Jesu, who knows who she is. Um, I'm reading from the Nigerian edition tonight, and I'm going to read two bits. First of all, something for right at the beginning, and then later, what page? Okay, if you have the Nigerian edition, I'm reading from page 10, the last paragraph in page 10. I'm going to start there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go on to another bit.
Sure.
Although sleep stays away, every night I shut my eyes and pieces of the life I left behind come back to me. I see the batik pillowcases in our bedroom, our neighbors, and your family, which for a misguided period I thought was also mine. I see you. Tonight, I see the bedside lamp you gave me a few weeks after we got married. I could not sleep in the dark, and you had nightmares if we left the fluorescent lights on. That lamp was your solution. You bought it without telling me you'd come up with a compromise, without asking me if I wanted a lamp. And as I stroked its bronze base and admired the tinted glass panels that formed its shade, you asked me what I would take out of the building if our house was burning. I didn't think about it before saying, our baby, even though we did not have children yet. Something, you said, not someone. But you seemed a little hurt that when I thought it was someone, I did not consider rescuing you. All right. Then I'm moving on to a little later in the book, and I'll give a bit of context before reading that part. So if you have the Nigerian edition, I'm on page 86 now, which is the very last chapter in part 1 of the book. I'm trying to remember which chapter it is, not anymore. So at this point, the book begins with Yejide, who's been married for a while. Her husband has taken a second wife, and this is an interaction between her and the new wife later in the book. One Saturday afternoon, I opened the door of my home and found Fumi on the other side, surrounded by several boxes and bags. The taxi cab that had dropped her off raised a cloud of dust as it drove away. Move and let me pass, she said. I stood by the door like a guard as she swept in. I watched as she dragged the bags into the house one after the other and littered the sitting room with them. She wore a navy blue boo-boo, complete with a matching scarf that she had tied around her braided hair like a band. Her bright skin shone in the sunlight that streamed in through the open doorway. Where is my room? She said when she was done lugging her bags. In this house? Are you dreaming? You, this woman, have tried for you. Don't even try that nonsense with me. This is my husband's house too. Why must you keep me outside this house? She removed her scarf and tied it around her waist. Why? You wicked woman. I asked you to shift so we can both sit down. If you're not careful, I will push you off the seat totally. You see, I'm not the one who married you. Your so-called husband is not him. When he's back, you can ask him stupid questions. I pointed to the door. Now get out of my house. You know what? I can only see your mouth moving. I can't hear a single word. Let me tell you, there's only one thing that can get me out of this house. One thing. I said, get out. Slap my thigh in time with each word. The one thing that will cause me to leave you in peace is for you to lift up your blouse and let me see your stomach.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, Ayobami. Hi guys, can you hear and see me? Okay, I think we've lost Ayobami in Lagos. I think let's just wait for her a few more minutes to come on. I should have followed the page with her. Great, she's back. And I believe we ended on "Let me see your stomach."
Okay.
I mean, stay with
Just to
me
give you the
now.
warning.
Stay with me.
Yeah, it is Lagos. We had a power outage, so I should have said that at the beginning.
Fine, we will get through it.
Okay.
So we lost at for me telling her to tapping her on the stomach and saying, "Let me see your stomach."
Okay. Okay. So I'll just take it from the top of that conversation, that dialogue rather.
Okay.
The one thing that will cause me to leave you in peace is for you to lift your blouse and let me see your stomach. This pregnancy of yours is over a year old now. Let me see what is there. Because we have heard the news all over town that it is a calabash you are carrying about under your feet. Yes, you have been exposed. She laughed. But you can prove them wrong. Prove the evil people wrong. Let me see your stomach for myself, and I will leave you in peace. I swear to God. I cradled my chin in one hand and wrapped the other across my distended stomach. Won't you speak? What could I have said? That my pregnancy was real. I still had not seen my period, and if I lifted my blouse and opened my wrapper, no calabash would have clattered to the ground. No pillow would have fallen at my feet. She would have seen my taut, distended stomach and the stretch marks crisscrossing the skin. I could have said my pregnancy was not real, that scan upon scan said there was nothing there, even as the baby's kicking woke me each night, that some of my stylists thought I was crazy, and the last doctor I saw referred me to a psychiatrist. I could not say any of those things. There was only one thing left to be said, the thing she was not expecting me to say. I shut the door and turned to her. Follow me. Let me show you to your room. I led her to the playroom. I was not stupid. I understood that it was a matter of time before Mommy showed up to make sure that Fumi started living in the house. If I fought with Fumi, it would only make things worse. Mommy could ask me to leave, and though Akin kept telling me how much he loved me, I no longer believed him. But I wanted to believe him. I had no father, no mother. Akin was the only person in the world who would really notice if I went missing. These days I tell myself that is why I stretch to accommodate every new level of indignity, so that I could have someone who would look for me if I went missing. Thank you.
Oh, it is such a beautiful, heart-wrenching story, but it is also very, very, very funny. You really have a way with humor. Sorry, I think we've got some people asking if there's a way you can get your screen closer to your face or your face closer to the screen.
Okay.
They want to see. They want to see.
Okay. Let me just get a little more comfortable.
There you go. I know there were some comments. They said they wanted to see what you. I'm sure they're very happy now. Has everyone seen?
Okay, that's better.
Much better. Thank you.
Okay.
So that was such a poignant piece, and it really is a very intricate story. Even though you have a way of telling it in such a way that I literally have plenty of moments in the book where I have to put it down and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh, and then only then can I resume resume it.
Thank you.
It's hilarious. You are hilarious. You have such a gift. And
thank you so
it's
much.
like you said, I cannot give spoilers, but really I'll give plenty of examples. Was it on purpose to use the device of humor in such an intricate, delicate story, or did it just happen as you found the characters' voices?
I mean, one of the things, I think this probably happens for every writer, that you write a book and then people talk to you about it and you're like, oh, That's interesting. And you're grateful. I mean, some of the things you're grateful for, some you're not so much. But one of the things that's really been truly interesting to me is how much of a role humor plays in the book. And I do agree that it is there, but it definitely wasn't something that I set out deliberately to do. But it's also a very dark book. And
Mm.
I think that one of the ways that we survive darkness and pain is that we learn to laugh at the most painful moments, at the most excruciating moments of our lives. Sometimes that is the only way to survive. So
Yeah,
with this character, at a point, I had to think to myself, how does she get from this point to this point? It's
mm,
that she has to somehow have the capacity or develop the capacity to see some of the ridiculousness of what's going on in her life, even as much as she's bought into it all, she can see all of that. So that was one of those things that happened because I got to know the character and I got to understand that this is one of the tools that she uses to survive.
absolutely. And it shines through. You did such an amazing job with that. I've
Thank
got a
you.
question from someone who's asking, she says, Akin is such a complex character. What he did was abhorrent, but every time I read the book, I want to hate him, but I cannot. What was it like writing his character?
Ah, yeah, it was a very evasive character. I think it took a while for me to get a handle on him.
Mm,
One of the things that's very clear with to me from the beginning, even when before I actually started writing the novel, because I had the idea and I wrote the short story and got to a point where I realized, oh, this is a novel. Everything I thought was going on is not what is going on. So I just need to leave this for a while and go away for about 2 years and come back when I feel ready to write the story. But right from the beginning, I knew they were both going to tell the story. That part of the say conceit of the novel is that this is really a dialogue between two people. Um, in some sense, the reader is eavesdropping on it, and so that informs what they each say. Everybody is trying to, I mean, both of them rather are trying to build a narrative, and they have an addressee. And in this book, Akin's addressee is Yejide,
mm,
about whom he still has very strong, if complicated feelings after all that has happened. So he's standing in a position where he's looking back at everything. And the question I had to ask myself is, at a point, is what does this say and why? And what would he never say? That was really the breakthrough question for his character for me, that I realized, well, no matter what happens, this guy is not going to say something.
yeah,
He's just going to sort of hem and haw around it and um, have all his internal justifications for this is why this happened, this is why that happened. And once I figured that out, I think that I was able to empathize with him in some way, because it must be after all of this has happened that you still can't bring yourself to actually articulate some things about who you are. Then you are in some sort of prison yourself. And I think that's perhaps where that feeling of I hate every single thing he did, or 90% of what he did, but still that many readers talk to me about. I think that's where it comes from. It comes from getting into his head, and he was very evasive. Sometimes I feel, I mean, sometimes when I was working on this book, I would sit down and talk to the characters. It's a bit weird, but yeah, I did that. Um, and he just wouldn't want to talk. Yeah.
yeah. He was very lazy about addressing things.
Yeah.
um, so then what it does, I know I've been warned not to give any spoilers. So anyone out there who's looking for spoilers, we're not spoiling tonight. We're not. I'm trying very hard here. But it really is because he's not addressing anything, it really is this web of deceit. The entire story is just, yeah,
Hmm.
lie built on lie. and makes the reader question the role of truth and lies in our
Mm,
everyday lives, in our relationships, in this picture that we paint or create for family. Um,
mm.
so, did you know from the beginning that you wanted it to be a family story? Because we have different layers of mother, brothers, daughters. Yeah, it's quite a web.
No, I didn't know from the beginning that it it was going to be a family story. The first novel I wanted to write was a political novel, and yeah, so
It
the
was
first draft of
specifically
Stay
a
With Me.
political novel.
Yes,
Really?
I wanted to write a novel about politics in 1993 Nigeria. That's what I
Okay.
wanted to do, but I didn't
Yeah.
have the characters for it, you know. So the first draft of Stay With Me goes on this tangent where Akin goes into politics, and then we go into that for like 30,000 words. And it's just useless, really. And it took coming to it again and again and really listening to, well, this is what I care about, but what do these characters care about? It's a
Yeah.
fantastic thing when there's an alignment between all the things you want to say and all the things your characters actually want to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes that does not happen.
Mm.
And with this, it happened on a number of subjects. On the subject of, say, politics, it didn't really quite happen. So, one of the things that I then started doing in the early revisions that I did for it was that I started sort of paring back everything that was political and asking myself again the question, what would they notice? You know, there's all the stuff that I read and I think is interesting and I want to talk about and I want Nigerians to talk about, but what would these people notice at this time? You know, and that's what ends up making it into the book. So
Exactly. Yeah,
it
the
didn't
characters.
actually, yeah, it didn't actually start up as primarily a family story for me. That was supposed to be the second layer, and then that comes to the top. That ended up coming to the top.
Mhm.
And I find that for me, writing is often a process of discovery. There's a story I think I'm going to write, and then there's the one I discover, which often is much more interesting than the one I thought I was going to write.
Absolutely. And speaking of early drafts and manuscripts, this manuscript, the manuscript for Stay With Me, was not chosen for Kwani, wasn't it? I think you had entered it into
It
a
was
competition.
shortlisted for the prize, actually.
Wow. And at that point, did you ever see that it might be one day listed for a Bailey?
No, I think no, I think the thing with the I mean, I think I might speak for a lot of people when I say the thing with the first novel is that the thing with almost any novel is that you don't have any guarantees that anybody's going to care about it.
Yeah.
All you know is that this is something that really matters to you.
Yeah.
These characters have taken over your life, and you just want to finish so that you can get your life back, or yeah, whatever it is that is driving you in particular. So I didn't have any expectations for it. All I knew was that, in fact, at a point when I went for my MA in UEA, I sort of shelved it and started working on another book throughout the MA year. So when I was doing my workshops, I was submitting another novel because at a point I thought, you know what, this book might never get published. So I need to start writing another book because, yeah, I really want to write a book. So I didn't even think it was going to get published. So everything else that happened after that was
Hmm.
was unbelievable. Sometimes it still is.
Oh, wow. And at what point did you have an agent? So did you get an agent after you wrote the book, or did it kind of happen like, oh, I just bumped into Claire Alexander, and or what was the process for you?
Oh, so my agent story. So Claire is my third agent.
Okay.
And yeah, I had really bad agent stories starting out. I'm the first person who ever represented me, and it was when I started working on this book. So it's like 2011 or 2012. I remember 2012. I remember being in communication with her in 2012. because I'd gone for a residency then, and I thought now I'm finishing this book. But my books don't always finish exactly when I want to finish them. At a point, she just stopped responding to my emails. That's basically what happened.
Just stop.
And yeah, I mean, it was just the last, I mean, yeah, that was it. She just wouldn't respond anymore. And the only email she ever responded to after a point was when I said to her, you know, I'm dropping you
Whoa.
as my agent. And I remember it was when I was on the residency and some other writer, we were chatting and she was like, why are you still with this person? And I thought, well, I don't know, you know. So I said, I don't have an agent. I don't have anybody. I'm just going to keep writing this book. And then I had another agent who then left publishing. And I didn't get to know for almost a year. So at the point I felt, okay, am I cursed? What is going on here? but I mean, the third time is the charm. And I'd met Claire when I was studying at UEA, and she'd been so lovely to me. She'd given me her card and said, you know, get in touch anytime you want. And for some reason, I kept the card because when I met her, I wasn't paying attention because I thought I had an agent, even though I did not. Apparently, my agent didn't think I was a client. I thought he was my agent. And so the opt-in draft, I wrote to her, and here we are. I couldn't have asked for a better person.
Excellent. So it's
that's the
it's
agent story.
that is a very beautiful story. So it's a journey, folks. Don't give up. Persistence is everything. And don't stop till you find your person. We've got a comment from you know, the way the names come out on Instagram is really funny. So I can't really tell. Post POA Scaper. This story touched me because my best friend, my BFF, suffered from sickle cell, lived fiercely and passed away. So thank you very much for this story. So on that note, are you able, did sickle cell anemia actually influence you writing this story?
Yes. So, I mean, I started thinking about it in my final year of university, and I started thinking about it precisely because in that calendar year, about 2 people that I knew had passed on from sickle cell disease. And one of them was someone that I had grown up with. We'd grown up in the same neighborhood. Our parents worked together. We were sort of family friends. I don't know if people use that expression outside of Nigeria. So it was this thing where our parents would buy us matching water bottles. It was, yeah. And I mean, all of a sudden she just passed on. I remember it very vividly. And it was just, I'm not sure if it was up to a year later when I ran into her mother, who was someone that I'd known very well when I was young. So there was some function, there was some medical conference, and I went to see my mom there, and I saw my friend's mother. And I was sitting at the table with her, and at a point I looked up, and she was looking at me, and I could almost read her mind and see all the questions. And I think that was when it just struck me, and I realized that this woman will have to, in some way, watch me and every other person who was the same age with her daughter who grew up with her daughter, continue with life. And what does that mean for her? And it was around that time that I started thinking about this book. So it began in some ways as a story about a mother and a daughter, and what that kind of loss means and what it does to you. So yes, it did. It was right there at the beginning when I was thinking about it.
Yeah, well, it really does come off in the prose, and thank you for sharing that. And for all sickle cell awareness, thank you very much. Same vein of same line of question regarding the mental illness issues that you bring up in the book. Has the book been noted for raising mental illness issues by anyone or anybody?
Yeah, I mean, so it was shortlisted for the Wellcome Book Prize, which is a prize about books that deal with the subject of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm aware of about one article in the British Psychiatric Journal or Journal of Psychiatry, I'm not sure, about the episode of pseudosciences in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sad book, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bit
No,
heavy.
it's packed. Thank you very much for shedding light on issues such as that. Now I've got not a question. I've got some questions from the people. There's a recent article that came out that says Bernadine Evaristo has rounds at least 8 a day when she feels the need to. So everybody wants to know. Let me be very specific. Let me read this out. How many times a day? How many times a day, first of all? And then after that, Leah is asking how many times a day did it take to write the book? I'm not sure if it's the same question, but I'm going to leave that out there for you.
I mean, I take breaks to write the book. The book is sort of the secondary thing. That's why it takes so long.
Okay, but you guys, do you want to get specific? Can you send me a specific question, Remy? No, BC, it's really hard. Okay, so everyone's mad at me. So let me get specific. There's an article that came out that Bernadine Evaristo needs at least 8 rounds of sex every day. So that's been the question on the festival this week. Everyone's like, okay, cool. So if writers are sharing, we may as well share. So the question is on you tonight. Remy says, how many times a day do you have sex? Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not me.
I said earlier, I take breaks from that to write. That's why it takes so long to write. So I can't even count.
There you go, guys.
So the question should be, how many times do I take a break to write?
There you go, guys. There you go. I hope you've all heard it. So that's a lot of times, plenty of times, because, we don't get shortlisted anyhow, These things happen with practice. I'm looking for questions, guys. Let's see. So I think you all know, I think it's been clarified, hasn't it? Oh, good. I've got a question on Yabu. She was hilarious. So I've got a question that says Yabu was such a powerful and wise character. Also, it's not a question, it's just a comment. Loved her. But
she's one of my favorite people in the book, actually.
Yeah, I'll go on to say, was it easy to write her? Did you feel her before you wrote her, or did she just sort of come up as you were going?
I didn't think she would be in the book initially. When she showed up, I didn't realize how important she would be. Actually, but she was one of those people that showed up in the book, and I'm like, this is an interesting woman. And then she increasingly becomes a more and more prominent character. So I don't think she was in the first draft that I remember.
Okay.
And I think one of the things I realized at the end of that draft was just how lonely this woman was, Yejide. And yeah, she's still quite lonely in this one too, but it was just so abject in that initial draft. And Yabu was in some way to fix that, but she took on a life of her own. She's one of my favorite people from the book, actually.
Yeah, no, she is. And I also find that Yejide, I like Yejide because she's a smart woman. She went to university. She runs her own business. Was it deliberate to make her business a salon?
Yes, actually.
Because it feels like a character as well.
Yes. In some way, she's a woman who's isolated from other women. That's one very important thing about her. It's not just that she's isolated from the key female relationships that could have really been helpful to her. She doesn't have a mother. She doesn't really have a mother figure. And that's one of the reasons why Yabu is such an important character for me in the book. And I wanted to give her that space, even if she didn't necessarily have a person. There was that place, which was a space that was only primarily for women, where she could, even if she doesn't necessarily articulate it to herself that way, she could be replenished by being in the presence of other women every day.
Yeah, that does come through very strongly. Thank you. I've got another question. What do you prefer, poetry or cocaine? It's Girls Friday, guys. Cocaine? Did I hear you?
Cake. Yeah. Cake, actually.
Cake. No, you only have two to choose from, so there's no cake
No,
here.
it's always cake. It's always cake. Oh my God, it's always cake.
Always cake. What flavor?
I mean, it depends on what it could be. Red velvet. It could be really moist chocolate. Strawberry cheesecake is the best of all worlds. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I've got from Mohale asking, what is the most memorable reaction to the ending of the book that you've had from a reader?
That's interesting. To the ending of the book, I really can't remember any right now, but to the book itself, there was a gentleman who said to me, "How dare you?" I'd gone for an interview. It was in Lagos. I hope, yeah, it was in Lagos. And I walked into the studio, and this man was just so upset. We had a nice chat after, but I was just, it was this thing where I was like, this is not real, right? And he was just like, "I'm hungry with you.
He was
How
mad
did you do this to hacking, this and that?" Well, I didn't do it to him.
He did it himself. Amazing. I've got a question from Natasha. She wants to know what you're currently reading.
I am currently reading the last story of Manchester Happened.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
we've had it on previous season as well.
Yeah.
Great. Anything lined up for after this? Do you have
to
a
read?
book?
Yeah, hoping to go to Friday Black. So I'm sort of going through a collection of short stories right now. Okay. Yeah, it's just, I don't know why, it's just where I am right now.
Okay. I've got a question from Sisonke. She's asking which authors do you love who would surprise us?
I wish I was better at answering this question. Every time I answer it, 1 hour later, I remember so many people that I should have mentioned. So I'll start by answering who have I loved this year, who have I read for the first time and I've loved this year, because that's easier to remember. So I read The Mothers by Britt Bennett maybe like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
and
yeah.
immediately went to The Vanishing Half, and I just absolutely love both books. And I just wanted to do the third one. So yeah, I'm here. So Toni Morrison, I remember, Beloved has this part of that where I just read that part over and over again, because I think some witchcraft is happening there in terms of how seamlessly it moves through one's character's consciousness to another. So it's like, Toni Morrison is that writer that I enjoy and at once learn from. That doesn't always happen at the same time. Sometimes there are people who I read and I enjoy and I feel I'm not actually interested in doing what they're doing, or, this is cute, but I'm not keen on doing that. With her, I'm just like, how did you do that? I want to know. And then of course, yeah, she was, yeah. I mean, yeah, she means the world to me. James
I feel.
Baldwin,
Mm-hmm.
I returned to also. Um, I really loved Homegoing by Jesse. Um, and I'm looking forward to Transcendent Kingdom. I love Chintu by Jennifer
Mm.
McCreevy. Manchester, I'm reading Manchester Happen so that I'll be ready when First Woman comes out.
Excellent.
Um, so I'm a bit of a, when I like a writer, I go from the beginning and then
Yeah.
I just keep,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
read everything. And if they don't have the next book, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Come on,
Right?
guys. So
I'm
speaking of
here.
which, are you
Write the
working on
book.
something else right now that we can all look forward to?
Huh. Yeah, I'm working on something. I'm always working on something. Yeah, I'm working on something. I think I can say that with more confidence.
Cool. And I have Willis Moore here. Oh, I hope I've said it right. He's asking, do you have any interest in Nollywood adaptations? And I find that question very interesting because your book, in a good way, feels like something you could be watching quite comfortably
Hmm.
on, a Nollywood
Okay,
movie.
Nollywood adaptations in what sense? Books I want to suggest for Nollywood to adapt, or
I think he's asking if you would be interested in perhaps adapting your book. I hope I've gotten it right. You can correct me if
oh,
I'm.
okay. Huh. What's the answer to that question? Um, I think the answer is sort of that is kind of in the works. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that yet, but yeah.
Okay. You heard it here, guys. I've got someone who's asking which character you resonated with the most, or who was easiest to inhabit, I guess.
I really can't say with either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in some way, it was a book that I really enjoyed writing because it was exciting. I was writing a novel. I was going to get to the end no matter what happened. This was something I'd wanted to do all my life, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in many ways a difficult book to write. First of all, because I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was doing. I just did not know what I was doing. So I went down a lot of dead ends and then had to come back to the beginning again. And in terms of the characters, I've already talked about Hakim being very evasive. Really,
Mm-hmm.
Yejide's head was, it was hard. It was just, so, I mean, so at some point, it was depressing. That was it. I remember once I'd spent, I think, the whole weekend working on manuscripts, and um, I do this thing when I get to a particular point in my work where I only get up to go to the bathroom, or I mean, yeah, I microwave pizza, and it's really not healthy. So I'd been in almost on the same spot rather for about 48 hours, and at a point I was so overwhelmed with just a sadness and a loss that I said, I have to get out of this house before I lose my mind. So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, it was heart wrenching to write. So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
either of them was easy in some way. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, one of the first things I said to myself when I was done was, I'm not writing a book like this again. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey. Wow. Yeah, no, it is very deep and painful. I've got a question from Kola who's asking, how does quarantine affect your reading and your writing?
I mean, at first it was disorienting. Um, so I mean, March, I was actually back at UEA doing a fellowship, and then it became obvious the country was going to lock down. I wanted to be back home, so I got on the plane. I came home. It was quarantine for 14 days. I kept thinking, am I sick? Am I not sick? Um, and then it was at first very disorienting. It was just what is going on in the world. I was sort of trying to make sense of it. And I don't think I read very much in March. I was just, except for news, I read a lot of the news. By April, I needed to bring myself back to myself. And one of the ways I could do that was to start reading. So I went back to books. Books have always been a source of comfort to me. So I think that in the past 2 months, I've read much more than I've been able to say in the past 3 years, primarily because I was traveling quite a bit. And I think, how has it affected my writing? I think I've also written more. I have also written more. I have nowhere to go. I have no way to procrastinate.
Fair enough. Except for I know, right? The kids were saying, can we talk about how beautiful your intro to Octavia Butler's Kindred was?
That is one of my writers. You see, I say this, I forget. And then I remember 2 hours after the event has ended. Thank you, Zakisa. Thank you. It was such, it was the greatest honor to do that.
Wow. Yeah, that's goals. What do you call them these days? Is it goals? Is it? That's amazing. And yes, so I think it's been said how beautiful it was. So thank you for that as well. And I love Octavia Butler too. I'm reading Earthseed right now again. So Remy says I've ignored him. I'm not ignoring your question, brother. He's saying, what is your favorite reading position?
I think I'm actually in my favorite reading position right now, which is that I'm in this chair and I can put both of my feet on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of it. And I can lean back and drink something. Yeah, that's my favorite.
I like that you can drink something while you're doing things. Indego is asking, while writing Stay With Me, are there any things that you feel you left unsaid?
Yeah, I think it's a book that's it's about what is left unsaid, and it's about things that cannot be articulated, things that for whatever reason defy language, whether because of our own insecurities and anxieties, or just where we are in our lives at that point. I think that it's a book with gaps, and quite some of them are deliberate. And I think that I'm interested in writing those kind of books, actually. So I'm readjusting myself again. I'm very interested in the unspoken, in the subtext. Because part of it might be because at least my perception of, say, the nature of the culture that I grew up in, particularly, say, Southwest Nigeria, a lot of conversation happens non-verbally, and I think one of the things that I want to be able to do at some point is find language for that. I'm not sure that makes sense to anybody, but it's one of my private obsessions.
Okay. I have Troublesome Nerd who's asked, and it's the second time. So, hey, thank you for your question and thanks for posting it again. He's saying your book has about 6 different covers, and they want to know which of the covers is your favorite.
Oh my God. It's got quite a number of covers, actually. Probably more than 10 now. I like the Nigerian one. I'm not going to pick a favorite. I'm going to pick
it's like having children.
No. I really like this one because I actually considered reading.
Can you hold it up for us? Sorry.
Okay. I considered reading the the scene that this dress comes from, and it's Yejide and our daughter. She has a daughter on the dressing table. It's one of my yeah, for me it's one of the more moving scenes from the book. I don't know if that works for anybody else. I mean, I've been fortunate with covers actually. I like this one. I like this one. There's the American one, which I also quite like. The first, I mean, the hardcover American one, which is this sort of pregnant woman falling down. And then there's the Kenyan one, which has a commissioned artwork on the back, which I like. So I'm not sure I've answered your question.
No, I think you have. On that note, for anyone in Kenya, the book is available in Prestige Books. If you're in Nigeria, please get it at Uida Books. So sorry, we've only got about 8 minutes to wrap up, and I've got questions still coming in. Sisonke is asking, do you ever go back to the book and think that you might have done something differently?
No, not this book. And I mean, I feel that because I am more of a rewriter, by the time I'm done, I'm sort of done. I've probably written 5 iterations of a single chapter. And it's by the time the 6th iteration is looking like the 4th one, I'm like, okay, I think I sort of exhausted this now. So by the time I'm done with it, I'm done with it. And it's and the way I think about it, and I think that's what sort of helps me eventually move on from a project, takes a while, is that I'm going to do the best that I'm capable of doing at this particular time with this book. And yeah, that's what I hold to myself, to know that I gave it everything I could at that time. If I were to write it today, it would naturally be a different book because I'm a different person. I like to imagine that I've grown.
True. I'm sure you have. I'm sorry, I'm moving it about a bit. I just had to plug in. Sorry. Okay. As we said, we have a few minutes left. I've got a question here, which is, what is the title of the TED Talk that will make you more famous? And that's from Remy.
Okay, I've never thought of this. It'll probably be, I really hate talking in front of many people, but here I am.
Yes, indeed. I'm doing it so gracefully. Okay. I think we have time for one last question, which is, what problem did Akin have? Erectile dysfunction, impotence, or infertility? And I have someone else who asked if these people never went to biology class, but that was like prior to the session. So what was Akin's real problem? They want to know from the author. And this is from Kola.
You said?
This question is from Kola.
Oh, okay. Is that Kola? Yeah, Molara is saying spoiler, actually. So I'm happy to answer that in the DMs. Hi, Natasha.
Hi. Am I still there?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.